So when everyone else stumbled upon the dragon egg, I'm sitting there going, man, they found an egg. I'm wanting to know what that egg is. Because, me being a entirely new player, having literally never played Dungeons and Dragons before, I didn't even know what a D20 was. Okay. They held up a D6 and they said, this is a D6. I said, oh, we use that playing Monopoly. They went, okay, that works. Let's work from there, okay? You know how to play Monopoly. So Monopoly dice uses 2d6 when you're playing Monopoly, because that's how you roll the dice in Monopoly, is you roll a 6-sided die. So when someone says roll 2d6, they mean roll 2 6-sided dice. It's a very straightforward shorthand, There's really not much to get confused about it. There's really nothing to it. It's very simple, very straightforward. Still perfectly wholesome. You then, of course, need to learn things like what's a D20, what's a critical hit, stuff like that. I did not have any of that information. I didn't know what a critical hit was, okay? I just knew that, we're rolling dice for something. Okay, that's fine. And so I just play along, and I'm enjoying it, and I'm watching them all explore this path to the right, as I just sit on the sidelines waiting for my turn to roll around so that I can explore my path on the left. And they find a dragon egg, they end up looking around, they don't see the mom. Key phrasing there. They don't see the mom. I did not say the mom was not there, I said they don't see the mom. Very, very big difference. So that is something worth noting, of course. So they're sitting there, they're feeling good. They're like, okay, yeah, we made it away safely with an egg. And then the GM, Steve, turns to me and he says, oh, right, then there's you. So all of these chuckleheads found the dragon's nest. You, on the other hand, found the dragon's treasure hoard. And it's like, oh my god, I found the treasure room? Yoink. Of course. It's like, what do you do? Rob the place. Obviously. You really need to ask? You're telling me I found the dragon's treasure hoard and they're running around with the dragon's egg. Okay, great. But that's not as useful to me. Me? I'm an alchemist. Okay? I have proficiency in like herbs and potion making and scrolls and like magic stuff. Yeah, I'm a little bummed I didn't get to find the dragon's egg, but I still have a chance at that, because it hasn't hatched yet. So I was looking forward to maybe getting a dragon. I was looking forward to maybe doing all kinds of stuff. But then he tells me, he takes me to the side, and I had told him when we started, because he started off by telling us, I'm tired of my players always becoming these unkillable gods every campaign I run. So this campaign, I'm just going to tell you guys, I'm trying to kill your characters, because every time I play a game with you guys become these unkillable gods who can never freaking die. so, sure enough, like, just like clockwork, we just started becoming unkillable gods. What's the first thing we found? Oh, we found a dragon's nest. Oh, okay. What'd you find in there? A dragon egg. Oh, so you guys are getting a dragon soon if we don't, get you guys killed off. Great. Okay. So he was racing against the clock, basically, to try and kill us. Because our next goal was find a dragon sanctuary to get this egg hatched. Because we knew how this was going to unfold. We wanted a dragon. We were definitely dead set on getting a dragon. We were like, oh yeah, we want a dragon. And he was like, I don't want to give you guys a dragon because every time I give you guys a dragon, you become super overpowered. And we were like, yeah, but we have the egg. And he was like, okay, well, that's a fair point. You guys do have the dragon egg. You guys did manage to survive the dragon by some sheer miracle. And that sheer miracle was, I was basically rage looting because I didn't want any of those bozos walking in to the dragon's treasure hoard amidst all these wonderful magical artifacts where, everything is going to be just magic all over the place. I didn't want them walking in, touching something, and maybe, blowing the place up or something because they weren't skilled in magic. So I was just looting. I was just straight up looting the entire dragon horde, trying to hurry up and get everything nice and hidden away in my inventory, just storing it all and putting it all away. Very straightforward process, very boring. Just rage looting, basically. And so they were like, okay, that's understandable. You don't want them to show up and wreck everything. That makes sense. That's a very sensible thing to do. I approve. It's good. I wasn't giving them a chance to ruin this for me, so I'm happy that we agree there. And he was like, okay, so what do you want to do about this item that I want to give you? And I told him, look, I know I'm new. I know I know I'm new. I know I have literally zero idea how any of this works, Steve. But Steve, for the love of God, if you want to have any hope of success at actually killing off our characters, for the love of God, don't pull any punches on me. Don't go easy on me because I'm new. I know I'm new. I know you want to go easy on me, Steve, but whatever you do, don't cut me any slack. Don't give me any hints. Don't help me. Don't offer to do anything. Okay? If you think that it's a good idea to give me some boon, some sort of divine blessing or something, okay, fine. But only if I earn it. Okay, make me earn it, Steve. Okay? Don't just give me a blessing. Instead, make it so that I have to actually earn this thing. Because if you just give me something to help me out, I have this thing called beginner's luck. Okay? And it's a very real effect where my luck starts off amazing. Oh my God, I've never had such a good streak in my life type of amazing. And then eventually my luck kind of sputters out. However, if you help me, I will tell you this now. What's going to happen is that I will become an unkillable death machine. And they're like, but you don't even know how to play. And I said, I know, but I've seen this happen before, okay? I have this tendency where I start off really strong, start off really good. That's my 5% warning, letting me know that my phone is getting low battery. So I should definitely plug it in. But I start off really good. I start off really strong. So whatever you do, don't give me any any boosts. Don't help me out. You know? And he goes, oh, that's okay, that's fine. He agrees to that, and then he turns around, and what's the first thing he does? He takes me to his side as I'm sitting in the dragon's treasure hoard, and he tells me, I'm going to give you this scroll. And he didn't really fully explain what was on the scroll. He just told me, it's a scroll, and it's this scroll that you can use. And I'm like, okay, that's fine, but I should warn you now. You remember what I told you about not giving me some sort of, like, booster because I'm new. I know I'm new. I know that you want to help me. But if you're trying to kill me, for the love of God, don't do this. And he was like, I know. You warned me. But, you know, it's fine. It'll be fine. Trust me. And I'm like, okay, but I warned you, you know, I'm telling you now, I told you so. And he went, yeah, I get it. You told me so. Okay, that's fine. Whatever. You know, how bad could it be? Ominous rumbling. So, Steve proceeds to give my character this scroll. I got this scroll in my inventory, blah, blah, blah. We explore the cave. They finish exploring the cave, the others. I am almost done looting the cave that I had, the cave path that I had taken. And I hear, of course, combat going on outside of the path where I was. And I'm like, oh man, I gotta go check this out, because if that's them fighting her, then like they might claim the bounty. And I don't want them to claim the bounty on me, so well, not on me, like I don't want them to claim her bounty, because like I want the bounty too. So I wanted to go ahead and make sure that, you know, they were, of course, not fighting the person that we were looking for. So I went and I poked my head outside, and I was like, hey, what's all the ruckus out here? Oh boy. Is that a dragon? And they were like, I swear to freaking God, man, if you ditch us here and I die, I will come back and haunt you. And it's like, well, what am I supposed to say to that, right? I can't exactly ditch them by that point. So it's like, okay, fine. I'll save your asses. What am I going to do to save your asses? So I'm looking at this dragon, this massive, at least adult dragon, which is very angry. And the dragon, the GM informs us, has a breath weapon attack that it is trying to use, and if it manages to successfully hit us with this breath weapon attack, the breath weapon deals 20d20 damage, 20d20 void damage, which I don't know if you've
done the math on how much 20d20 damage is, but that basically means that the damage can range from 20 to 400. Which, if the dragon rolled minimum damage on our level 3 party, then the werewolves, which had resistance to the damage, might have survived. Minimum damage. The rest of us would definitely fall below 0 and most likely die at just that much. And if I got hit, I was just dead. Like, I would have dropped easily below -10, which in 3.5 edition is death, you know. So that was like Death March type music for me. And I'm sitting there going, I gotta fight this thing somehow? Are you crazy? So I did the only sensible thing I could do. I looked at the item in my hand, which was this weird black crystal that I had found in the treasure room. And I'm like, okay, I got this weird black crystal. I got an angry dragon. What am I going to do? So I take the black crystal and I shout out at the group, you know, cover me, because I'm going in. You know, so they're like, okay, you know, they got crossbows and all that, and they're doing cover and fire, so that I can get in close to do whatever crazy lunatic idea I had in mind. Well, the lunatic crazy idea I had in mind was that I was going to jam this crystal that I was holding into the dragon's neck. Okay, string is installed properly. And so I proceed to do exactly that. I run up, and my thinking was that if I was going to fight the dragon as this extremely weak, underpowered character, I would definitely need to inflict some form of internal damage to the dragon, because as a magic user, as a sorcerer of some type, I am relegated to using a very limited skill set against a dragon, simply by virtue of there's not much I can actually do against a dragon. Seeing as dragons are magical creatures that are very resistant to magic. So, in order for me to fight a dragon, I needed to get my magic inside the dragon. Which, as you may have guessed, is a lot easier said than done. Because dragons have this thing called scales and skin, and dragons are very big and powerful, and I'm not. So I'm sitting there trying to think, how am I going to hurt this dragon? You know, how am I going to manage to, you know, best this foe? Defeat the beast, as it were. And so I'm sitting there and I'm thinking, and it's like, well, it has this little tiny wound on its neck from where the monk had done a some form of earth attack. Hey, I'm missing some string. There's supposed to be string in that barrel. Where'd the string go? I didn't reinstall it. Oh. Well, now I need to go up and retrieve more string, it looks like. So, like I'm looking at it and it's like, well, it's got this little tiny hole in its scales on its neck from where the rogue managed to inflict a small amount of damage to it. You know, and when I say a small amount of damage, I mean it broke free. Like, the dragon was partially restrained. Really? 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 Get back. I'm over here lagging and this zombie's trying to freaking gobble me up. Of course. Naturally. Okay. So, yeah. Like, it had just the tiniest little flesh wound. And I'm sitting there just like, well, shit. You know, it's got a flesh wound, and I've got one shot at basically not dying. And so I go rushing at it, and against all odds, I manage to, like, he tells me, okay, what are you going to do? I'm like, well, I'm going to go and I'm going to try and shove this mysterious black gem that I'm holding into its neck. And he goes, well, okay, I guess that's an option. Do you know what the gem does? Which gem is that? And I said, oh, I didn't have time to identify it yet. And he went, oh, so you're just shoving some unidentified black gem into its neck. It's like, yeah, pretty much. Aren't you worried that that's going to, like, be dangerous or potentially kill you? And it's like, well, what are my odds of surviving if I don't do this potentially dangerous thing that might kill me? And he went, fair point. Because he immediately saw the point that I was trying to make, which is, if I do this, I might die. But if I don't do this, I will die. So my options are either risk dying or just point blank die. And it's like, I think I will risk dying and possibly not die. Which, you know, that's actually a pretty wise option, all things considered. It was incredibly crazy, incredibly stupid, and the odds were definitely stacked against me. However, against all odds, he tells me, okay, go ahead and roll to attack. You're using just some random item, just jamming it in this thing's neck. You're not proficient in it, so you don't get any, you know, bonus modifiers. What do you plan to do once you have jammed this thing in the creature's neck? And I said, I'm going to electrify it. And he went, what? I said, yeah, I'm going to electrify the gem. He went, why? And I said, well, I haven't had time to study it, but I know it's magical, right? And he went, yeah. And I went, well, that means that it's got to react with something magical. So I figure I'll just zap it, and if it's got sort of activation trigger, maybe that will work. And he thought I was crazy, but it worked. So I might have been crazy, but I was crazy like a fox, 'cause I survived. Okay, I don't know what he was complaining about. I survived fine. But he did not tell me what the gem was until much later in the campaign. How are you up there? That area is spawn proof. Those are slabs, right? Yeah, those are lower half slabs. How did you get up there? Mojang, fix yo broken ass programming. That is a lower half slab platform. It should not be up there, bro. Like, legitimately, the only thing that should be up there is an Enderman. And that's after it teleports. Oh, right. I mean, between gravel blocks not consistently staying being able to be placed on upper half slabs, as well as sand, by the way, and then on top of that, the llama apparently spawning on top of a lower half slab. Mojang, fix your shit. Cause you got some bugs, bro. And I ain't talking bunny. Okay, so I got the string in place on this end. I got the string in place on that end. Made sure I took out the minecart rail right there, as well as on the far side. I want to go down to here. Open this up, grab this out. There was something I wanted to store in here. The rail. There we go. Grab the torches. Grab the coal. Which actually means I'm going to want to put that back. I'm going to want that there, that there. Actually, I want to move those over there. That to there, that to there. Okay, that should work now. But yeah, so he was like, okay, so you're not proficient in this weapon, obviously. So go ahead and give me a roll. You are an elf, and it's at the cave entrance, so it's in normal light, so you're not at disadvantage to see it. However, you are not proficient in this weapon, so it's going to just be a flat d20 roll. You know, give me a roll on a 20-sided die, and let's see how well you do. And so I did, and then I was like, okay, how'd I do? I got a 20. And so my first question was, what does a 20 do? Which, if you've played D&D for any amount of time, you know what a 20 does. 20 is a crit. I did not know this, so I had to ask. And they lost it. The whole room could not believe what was going on. They could not speak for a solid 15, 20 minutes. And I was sitting there waiting patiently because I still had no idea what was going on. I did, however, realize that whatever was going on was hilarious. So I'm sitting there going, okay, so everyone's laughing. Could someone maybe clue me in on what's going on? They said, okay, so here's the basics of it. 20 is the best possible result. And I went, oh, okay. So does that mean I hit? They were like, yeah, you hit all right. Go ahead and roll damage. And when you roll damage, go ahead and roll for double the damage. Roll all your dice twice because it's a crit. I went, what does that mean? And they said, it means you get to roll all of your damage twice. And I went, okay. And so I rolled and I counted out the damage. And they were like, oh, you also have this ability, this class ability. Did you want to use it? And I was like, yeah. Like, why wouldn't I want to use that class ability? That sounds awesome. It was called Special 6, which, if you're familiar with Special 6, congratulations, you're familiar with the 3.5 edition rule set. Also, that move is very, very overpowered, and I am so glad that I had it as one of my skills. Special 6 is this lovely ability that simply makes it so I can multiply my damage by 6. So on top of the crit, which doubled my damage, I had multiplied my damage by 6. And the damage that I was doing was electric. But the damage was being dealt through this gem. What ended up happening was probably the single best result that could have possibly happened. We ended up triggering the little black gem, which, I ended up triggering the little black gem, which then caused the dragon to slump over lifeless. Or more specifically, the dragon slumped over soulless. As it turned out that the little black gem was the equivalent of a soul trap gem from the game Elder Scrolls III Morrowind, which I was not aware of. However, I had played Elder Scrolls III Morrowind. By the way, love that game. It's a great game. If you've never played Morrowind and you're just looking for a game where you can play it and just enjoy feeling like you're some sort of actual hero, Morrowind is pretty much the closest you're ever going to get to what you're looking for in that regard, simply because Morrowind is that broken. The level of overpoweredness in the game Morrowind is best described as you can create custom spells, you can fly, you can create permanent fortification spells that allows you to fortify your luck, of all things. You can fortify your attack damage, you can fortify so much stuff. There's so much stuff that you can do in that game, it's ridiculous. But the biggest part of it all is that you're able to create permanent effect spells in that game, which means you're able to create effects that never wear off, such as Chameleon or fortifying your luck to, like, 2,000, or in my case, 50,000. By the way, when you have 50,000 luck, you just don't die. You just can't seem to die. Not for lack of trying, you just never get hurt. They just can't get to you. I really want to knock that llama down. So yeah, the Elder Scrolls 4 Morrowind had a lot of very overpowered things, but the Soul Gem was definitely the primary reason for the season, as it were. The capacity of destruction that just that one Soul Gem was able to wreak was so vast that as the dragon's soul left the dragon's body, the dragon itself found itself having certain other issues, because some of the other items that I found inside of that treasure hoard included items such as a scroll of summon dark creature, which means as long as I had previously touched a creature, I could summon it. But only, of course, the dark creatures. I could not, for example, summon an angel. I could, however, summon a shadow dragon. So when I later learned this scroll, because I had read and write magic, and the first thing I did when I got to town with a couple thousand gold was I bought a lot of paper and a lot of pens and a lot of ink. So I was just set. I was like, okay, I'm going to read and write magic. And they were like, oh, okay. Which one? I went, all of them? They were like, what do you mean? I'm like, well, I have read and write magic. And on top of that, I have a lot of scrolls. What do you think I mean? I mean, I want to learn these scrolls, man. They were like, rats. Okay, so I guess you can theoretically learn them, but you know, you gotta like not mess up the transcribing. And I was like, well, it's pretty simple actually. All I have to do is write it as I read it. You know, it's actually very easy to not mess up transcribing a scroll. You just do it one symbol at a time. You do it slow. And he was like, oh, you're doing it slowly. Okay, I guess that works. Crap. Like, he couldn't really do anything to stop me. Like, we were decently safe. We were technically in a dangerous city, but other than that, we were technically safe. There was nothing he could really do to punish me, as it were. So he just kind of had little other option other than just letting me read and write magic over and over and over, because I had all of the tools necessary, and I was even willing to go slow and take my time on it. So yeah, I got to read and write magic until I learned a bunch of different spells, and then I was like, well, I got all these other spells. Is there any way I could maybe learn some of these? And he was like, well, you might have to find a tutor for something. And I was like, a tutor? Oh, man. That means I gotta, like, have someone teach it to me? He was like, yeah, and you probably gotta pay him, too. And I was like, pay him? Oh, man. I just got this money. It's like, yeah, I know. It's terrible. It's like, oh, laugh it up, GM. Laugh it up, Steve. You know, okay, fine, whatever. So, I started out on this just random quest to find someone to teach me these spells. Just decided that on my own. It's a personal quest, you know? Which I'm sure Steve loved, because it means that he now had a method which he could just decide to mess with my character. Just at any given point, he could be like, oh yeah, I heard about this tutor. Which, yeah, GMs will do that. They will mess with your character just for fun of it. But, you know, it usually leads to something that still lets your character grow as a character. So it's nothing to be too fussed over. But at the same time, like, my characters still had to go through all of this stuff in order to, you know, get taught all of this stuff. If they wanted to learn it, they still had to find someone to teach them. So, you know, that was the goal. Find someone to teach them. And in the result, we were like, okay, so we need to find someone to teach me all of this stuff. I think I skipped a part, because before we made it to town with all of this money that I had managed to steal from the Dragon Sword, which, by the way, they let me keep because, thanks to me, everyone survived. They were like, how can we ever thank you? Well, I found the dragon's treasure hoard. And they're just like, oh, that's low. It's like, what? You asked. Okay, that's fair. That's low, but that's fair. You know? Okay, you want all of the treasure. That's a low blow. We fought a dragon. We don't get the treasure, but we got to live. And that's your reward for saving us. I suppose that's fair. Okay, we can deal with that. You know, we get to go back to town and just celebrate being alive, because we met a dragon and holy shit, we could have died, but we didn't. So we're just gonna party. And so they were like, awesome. But before we got back to town, we managed to track down where that lady that we were looking for had gone off to. By the way, do remember to like, comment, subscribe. 90% of my viewers tend to not be subscribed. Let's see if we can get that number at least below 90%. Preferably, like, maybe, I don't know, below 50% would be nice. That'd be real nice. I would love to have half of my viewers subscribe. Maybe even all of my viewers, preferably. That would be great. Anyway, back to the story. Now that I've reminded you to like the video, comment on the video, subscribe to the video. We crested over this mountaintop, riding atop our mounts, our steeds that were provided for us. And so we found ourselves overlooking what was essentially the Black Gate from Lord of the Rings. If you're not familiar with the Black Gate from Lord of the Rings, I have had to describe this to someone, so I have experience in describing it again. Simply put, we were outnumbered roughly 100 to 1,000 to 1. Somewhere between 100 to 1 and 1,000 to 1 was how vastly we were outnumbered. There were armies, entire armadas of orcs. There were armadas of Orukai, the highly evolved orcs, or elf orcs, or earth orcs, earth elves. It's really difficult keeping track of all of the different types of orcs. I don't even bother trying because it's just a convoluted mess to me. I don't know. But the orcs outnumbered us very greatly, and so we were sitting there going, well, I guess we're gonna die today because, giant black gate scenario where we're sitting there going, I guess we just gotta fight our way through. And it's like, well, what about living? You thought that was an option. That's funny. It's like, oh, so we're just doomed? Yeah, pretty much. Okay. So we all pray to our gods for some form of divine blessing to save us from our impending death. Not impending doom. No. We were definitely dead. Or so we thought. We wholeheartedly believed that we were all definitely going to die. And so we were just like, okay, the werewolves prayed to their wolf god, and they ended up with the blessings of a blood moon, the most powerful blessing they could ever get. So they had basically the equivalent of a barbarian with damage resistance and belts of storm giant strength, basically, if you're looking for the 5e comparison. Resistance to all damage and belts of storm giant strength. Put 2 and 2 together, make them a barbarian, and then tell them, good luck. Go rip apart a bunch of bad guys. And that's essentially what they got. That was their blessing of the blood moon. Very potent blessing, very powerful. Obviously, very deadly. They were very useful. They were great. They got a bunch of kills. They got the second highest number of kills, I think. Maybe third highest. I think the guy with the crossbow got more kills, but that's simply because he could do triple shot. And he also had a electrified shot, so he could do electrified triple shot. He was the one who helped me build my character sheet originally because I had no idea what I was doing. So I definitely got the most kills myself, though. Not because of my equipment, but because of my prayer. Because as Steve went around the room and went over everyone's divine boon that they got, went over their divine blessing, saying, okay, what do you pray? You pray that? Okay, you get this. What do you pray? You pray that? Okay, you get this. Then he got to me and he realized, wait a minute. I never asked you who your god was. Like, who is the god that your character worships? And I'm like, oh, is that important? And he's like, are you familiar with the Black Gate? And I was like, yeah, I'm familiar with the Black Gate. I've seen Lord of the Rings, Return of the King. I'm very familiar with that death scenario. It's a foobar moment, as they say in the army. Which, if you don't know what foobar means, it means basically things are, to phrase it nicely, things are messed up beyond all recognition. Except, you don't use the word messed. You use another word, and that word begins with F. But yeah. Things were messed up beyond all recognition, basically, because it was a death trap. It's dangerous. So you're sitting there and you're like, okay, who do I pray to? Who do I pray to? Do I pray to my god? Do I pray to someone else's god? Do I take it easy? Do I just run away? What do you do in that type of situation? In the words of the doctor, the good doctor, Dr. Doctor Who, you might ask. He's very used to that line. He's the Doctor. The original, you might say. He says a little bit of fear is a good thing. It's how you act when you're afraid that really defines you. Because when you're afraid, you find yourself facing off against a series of events that could potentially kill you. And if you're not careful, it could kill you. But when you're afraid, if you keep calm and you keep a level head and you manage to think things through, you find that more often than not, you are able to find a way to safely escape almost any situation. And that's a good thing. It's a very good thing. Also, diamonds. Let me excavate these, actually. Okay, how about beneath them? Yeah, looks good. Ooh, more diamonds. Okay. The reason why I excavate the diamonds, by the way, is because ore veins sometimes can spawn on a diagonal, like this,